Nadine, hey, congratulations for your film Continue.
Thank you so much.
More of a congratulations being showcased at the Cinejoy Cinequest Film Festival in San Jose pretty soon. How do you feel about that?
Oh my God, I'm ecstatic. Honestly, I feel like I found my perfect festival, that really believes in me and really believes in the project. And I just feel so blessed, honestly. So excited.
Terrific. So I guess we will have to start off with that question that always been asked is where the original idea came from. I understand this came from a pretty dark place.
Yeah, I come from a family of suicide. My grandfather died by death by suicide. He took his own life. And so it's kind of been something um that's been a part of my journey in my life since a really young age and really changed the outcome of my father's life in a huge way. And depression runs deep within my family. So I'm Native American and Irish. I basically knew I was gonna have all kinds of fun stuff in my future, and so yeah, it came from an attempt on my own life in my 20s. And uh, the beautiful life I now have today because of that survival from suicide. And yeah, that's where it all started from. And honestly, the isolation that you feel when you're in that, you feel like you're the only person that feels that way, who has these sad, bouts, and you can kind of be really hard on yourself because it can leave you feeling a little bit like an outsider, and I wanted to show people that they're not alone, that they're not an outsider, that a lot of people feel this way. And only through me making this film did I realize how many people feel that way and how many people could relate. And, as time passes more and more, I realize, I only become more passionate about this subject because the stats just keep rising, and COVID was a really hard, dark time for people. And I believe that there's no time like now for this film, to show people they're not alone and that their life matters.
Now, this is a very sensitive subject, and I could tell it's very difficult for you even to speak on it. But how did you manage to pull through this production, on this type of story?
Through the collaboration of my team. I will say that choosing my crew and my DP and the producers that I made it with, and just everything through the process of how it all came together, it honestly was divinely placed, and I found my perfect people. And because of that support and family we grew on set, it was very important to me that everyone knew we were going into really heavy content, and that there would be challenges and there would be hard days. But almost everyone who was involved in the film has a tie to suicide, depression, or mental health in their family or in their personal lives. So everyone showed up in a completely different way than maybe they show up on other films. Everyone was just willing to pour their heart and souls into this film because it was never really just a film. It was a film about helping others too. So, I got through that process and diving back into those depths because I had an amazing team around me that was there for support, who wouldn't let me stay down if I was down. Or, there'd be times where I'd come off from doing a scene and everyone was crying. So I came off camera like crying and being like, wow, that was heavy. Everyone was crying, and then they'd swarm me and hug me and like we'd have this moment, and then it's like, all right, now let's go. There's so much shit to do. But it really was through the collaboration of my team and that trust that I could pull off wearing 17 hats.
I mean, speaking of your 17 hats, how did you come to that decision to star and direct? I mean, this is already tough by itself, but then you have to be in that position to relive everything.
Yeah. I knew no one would give what I could. like no one. I did it all for free. Like I literally, there's not a dime I've made. I've reinvested every time I ever did make. This is my life savings that even helped finance the film. You know, I raised every dime of that financing outside of, you know, what I invested through relationships and years of hard work. And honestly, Cassian Elways, who is, you know, my EP, is a mentor, is now my manager. I think he knew I always wanted to direct it. And at first I wasn't having that conversation. We were kind of talking about other people that we thought could be right. And he said to me, I just don't understand. You've made all the lookbooks, you've written the script, you've raised every dime of capital. Like, why aren't you directing it? And I was like, and I just was like, because I didn't know that you would support that. And he's like, I'd believe in it even more if you did. And I was like, great, because that's what I've always wanted. So, you know, and it just like was off to the races. I knew the story inside and out. I've spent years and years and years writing it and making sure that it was ready and that it could help. And, you know, no one cares the way that I do. This is like a piece of my heart. You know, each time that I show it, it's exposing the deepest parts of me, you know, the things that maybe in my younger years I was embarrassed of or ashamed of, or, you know, just all of it. I just knew that I had to see it through, and that no one would give when I knew that I could. You know, I always believed, you know.
Well, it seems like everyone believed in you too. So how was that overall directorial experience for you, since this is your feature film debut?
Yeah. I mean, it was beautiful. It was such a beautiful process. Like, I know that people probably say that, but it's true. I mean, I had an incredible cast. I had an incredible cast that trusted and believed in me. And, you know, there was never any challenges. Like, you know, I think going into your first film, you're like, okay, I'm gonna have to prove myself. I'm gonna have this, I'm gonna have to that, you know, and there was never any of that. I think because people knew it was my story. They knew how many years I had worked to get this movie to where it was. You know, every offer, like, you know, to my cast that I had came with a very personal letter of why them and why this film. And, you know, one thing about me in the letters and all of those things, I expose my heart. I believe in telling people how I feel about them. I don't believe in playing it cool. You know, what I constantly say is like, I can only be me, and people will either connect with that or they won't. And, you know, I believe that the universe really brings you your people who that you're supposed to work with. And it just worked out that the people that I found, like, it just always felt meant to be. From the moment we met, we hit it off, and there was this trust, and there was, you know, almost all of the meetings, the first meetings I had ended up being hours long. And because of that trust and those relationships we were building when we went into set, it was exactly that. There was already chemistry. There was already, you know, and I also believe a lot in that trust and letting actors have freedom and being there when they need me, not over complicating or talking things when they don't, you know, like when they know what they're doing and there's that magic and it's there, shut up and stay out of their way, you know, at some points. And then sometimes they did need me, or we did need to get involved, you know, but it was a really beautiful process. And, you know, it's just so funny is you have this idea in your mind, like, I think I thought my whole life I wanted to be an actor, and like only through becoming a director did I realize, like, this is my heart and soul. Like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is actually what I've been doing since I was a kid. I thought I was making these like roles or these things in my mind, but really I was telling stories. I was, you know, and so it was a beautiful experience also, because it showed me what I want to do for the rest of my life.
That is great. That is a great calling. Now, your character Dean is beautiful because of the fact that she had such a good support group from, you know, friends and the love and so on. What was your support group in real life that translated onto the screen?
Yeah, those friendships, those characters were originally based on some of my first friends that I found. A lot of my life I didn't have many female friends. I didn't have a lot of female relationships. I think that it can be really challenging for a lot of women to find their people, to find their community. I mean, half of it comes from like high school and all of that. And you're like, oh God, like high school's brutal for all human beings. We're all awkward. It all is like, we're all lucky to survive those younger years, and that kind of sets who you think you are for the future and those different things. And, I think starting from rock bottom in my 20s was like, all right, I can totally reinvent. Like there's no lower than here. So who do I want to be? And where do I want to go from here? And through that, God brought me all kinds of really magical people and a great support system. And I found sobriety, and I found great therapists. And, even now I'm in therapy twice a week, and that's because I need it. I need that support. I need that healthy place to come for guidance, and so I had, the thing that differs from real life to my life from the film is I didn't go into an institution. I was actually able to be released and do it more in an outpatient situation. And so, through the AA rooms, through, those new friendships and finding female friendships for the first time in my life, and people that kind of accepted me. And I was done trying to pretend I was something I wasn't anymore, if that makes sense. I think through the younger years, everyone kind of expected me to be this like my characters, like this badass, sexy, like whatever it was. And it's like, and I'm not. I'm actually very nerdy sometimes. I'm very into space. I'm really into like alien, like you name it. I'm just not what people expect me to be. And I finally was like, that's what I want to embrace. I don't care what people want me to be. I just want to be me. And that is what I've continued to carry with me is, not everyone's going to like me, and not everyone's going to probably connect with my films or that, but the people that do, they'll get it. I know that I'll have my people out there, and that's the beautiful feeling, just to know that like, not, you can't please everybody, but if you can be happy at the end of the day and you can find your people, like you're going to be okay, and that was, yeah, that was part of my process. And it was a process, I still feel like I'm finding my process,
Well, one more thing, Nadine, is how long did it take you to find that perfect ending to this film? Because it could ended in so many different ways, but you came up with a very beautiful ending.
Well, thank you for saying that. The ending is what I had. And I formed everything else around that. I knew what my message was, which was always a message of suicide prevention. Your life matters. You have no idea what's right around the corner. You have to give it one more day. And so I knew always that my ending was my ending because I wanted people to see that their lives mattered. And the rest I kind of formed around that. So I always knew. But funny enough, like, my ending is what I had to fight for the most, and why I ended up making it in such a small and indie way. I think people believed it was risky and broke rules, and I like breaking rules. So, I always knew that had to be the way that I did it. And no matter what, I'll never change my stance on that. It was the exact way it needed to be. And I believe in it and I love it. And I also know that some people are going to, without saying too much, because I have to be careful what I say, some people are going to be mad at me and some people are going to love me. And that's life, I guess,
I think you made a great movie, just to let you know, and I certainly hope that your film is being watched by somebody that eventually helps them out, so that they would understand that they could all have a perfect ending.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. That it really means so much to me.
No, thank you for telling us about your film, and thank you for making your film, because we need more films like this. And looks like you're going to be in the director's chair for a very long time too.
Thank you so much. That honestly makes me emotional to hear, because that was it. Before every single scene, before everything I went into, all I did was pray that it finds who it's supposed to find, you know, and so I believe it will.
I believe you in you too. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.